The physical time experience is physical phenomena changing from moment to moment, and the mental time experience is the recognition that things are physically changing. The physical time experience can be defined as linear, but fundamentally it's nonlinear, because the experience of linearity in story comes from the mental experience of time. But since the physical and mental time experiences are simultaneously experienced, you'll never experience physical change without the linearity context provided by the mind. Because the physical time experience is all about physicality, it can to some extent be quantified. One way to quantify the physical experience of time is by quantizing certain relationships to light, gravity, charged particles, etc., and using its qualities to define the physical nature of change. And as such, in the context of regular matter and energy, the physical process of change is the linear perception of difference every Planck time. What's being mentioned is the rate at which the reality in which the brain exists changes, not how fast the brain works. How fast the brain works is irrelevant because the brain is subjectively perceiving and interpreting the physical rate of change mentally in its own unique way. How fast or slow a brain works doesn't change the speed of light, although it can change that observer's perception of the speed. Also, it takes the brain billions upon trillions of Planck times just to generate the perception of 1 second. The flow of time is a constant stream of change, wherein the world around you changes too fast for your nervous system to perceive it as discontinuously continuous. The discontinuity is what change is. It is the perception of a physical object expressing a different time variable serially. A beautiful quality about the physical experience of time is that although the experience of it is obviously real, fundamentally it is an illusion. Remember, words can have different definitions. The word illusion is being used as a general term to describe something that is not as it seems, like how your meaningful real experience of a well-storied movie is an illusion of seeing meaningless light bounce off a screen. Something being an illusion doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and it doesn't mean your experience of it isn't real. Time being an illusion doesn't negate the reality of physicality. Technically and experientially, there is only one volume of time. The way that volume is structured allows for the real, physical, tangible experience of multiple volumes and values of time. It's one moment structured to generate experiences of multiple moments, similar to how a holographic image is structured to generate the perception of multiple images. This fossilized Samoria can only be defined as old in the ever-changing now. All values of time are created within and are thus relative to this one now experiential volume of time. It's both ancient and brand new right now. An astounding quality about the illusionary nature of physical time experience is how it is perpetuated. The way the illusion works is built upon the molecular orchestration of matter and energy that people are familiar with observing. Humanity as a collective, contrary to what people would like to think, doesn't know what other sectors of the cosmos physically look like in significant detail. By definition, The way information about planets, stars, and superclusters is gathered is by using tools designed to measure and indicate qualities humans are already familiar with on Earth. The tools themselves are literally made out of these familiar qualities. Obviously, tools can be used as an extension of the human senses and can make the unseen seen, but that's not what's being discussed. The fact of the matter is that it's easy to forget how unimaginably gigantic the universe is and think you know what's going on off-world, even though you don't. In this context, not knowing what's happening in Hong Kong isn't the same as not knowing what's happening in the Sombrero Galaxy. If technology was developed to traverse the cosmos, you might arrive on a planet and find all sorts of exotic matters, energies, and elements that have absolutely no reference point on Earth whatsoever. There's no reason why other worlds billions of light years away in another galaxy or in an equivalent celestial phenomenon can't have unique qualities not found on Earth. We're not talking about Mars, or the Moon, or the Pleiades, or even the Sombrero Galaxy. We're talking about places much, much, much farther away that can't be photographed and don't have names. The reason why this is being mentioned is because as humans, one of the ways we measure time is by how physical matter changes, as demonstrated in the cesium standard and Earth orbiting the Sun. How matter and energy behaves is a crucial factor of physical time experience. The fact that biological entities in general, such as humans, plants, and animals, have a similar young-old growth degradation process perpetuates the time illusion. The fact that minerals and molecules of Earth, the Moon, and Mars, and other places humans are somewhat familiar with, orchestrate themselves in a common fashion also perpetuates the time illusion. What is meant by all this is that there is an organizing principle present in the solar system giving the elements of the periodic table a certain kind of configuration. Your brain itself, your device for perceiving physical time, is made of these elements. This elemental configuration translates as the sky, the ground, DNA, etc. The way this organizing principle behaves is what generates the physical experience of time. And with that said, all this talk of the physical world being composed of physical materiality doesn't negate the non-physical, imaginary, analytical, basic mental, sensory feeling, and emotional aspects. These are life-animating, story-building foundations of consciousness not to be ignored. The periodic elements are only being referenced with respect to how physical reality is structurally organized. Physical time experience is the behavior pattern of physical matter and energy. Physical age is illusionary because Earth spinning around the Sun isn't measuring time and isn't measuring anything more than any other physical action. The repetition being called a measurement of time is actually a measurement of movement, and is a convenient way to create a story label to add context to what's happening now on Earth. An elderly person and a baby are the way they are because of physical-chemical interactions. If there was technology advanced enough to change the physics of the biochemistry of a baby, you could make that baby stay a baby for its entire life. The reason why is because growth and senescence are physical processes. Because human DNA is so similar, our bodies create similar physical processes that make it seem like time is the only reason, when really it's just that our atoms are moving around similarly and thus define time. To put this in extremely simple terms, Earth is a unique material formula, a unique recipe of stuff called Earth. The components of this formula exhibit a specific pattern of behavior that amounts to our physical perception of time. Other places, no matter how similar, don't exhibit the same exact behaviors because they are not the Earth formula. Thus, there's no reason why there aren't other worlds with tremendously different formulas, exhibiting tremendously different behavioral patterns. How you label the components of a material formula, such as electromagnetic energy, neutrons, dark matter, etc., is irrelevant because you're still talking about material stuff behaving uniquely enough in a certain space to be defined as different from another space. This concept is called activity fields. The fact that most living things on Earth are birthed, grow, wither, and die in a cyclical manner adds to the illusion. The fact that mineral structures such as rock and dirt build and degrade in a cyclical way adds to the illusion. The physical time experience is merely atomic interactions. It's just stuff moving around a certain way. The way the physical world operates perpetuates the feeling and the visual of a linear story, whereas maybe on another planet, in another galaxy, matter and energy don't behave that way at all. Maybe on another planet, the matter and energy are doing a different dance to a completely different tune. We already experience such a universe when we go to sleep, and label that real reality experience just a dream. Who's to say there aren't other places in the cosmos that resemble those dream environments? Especially since dreams and imagination are already as much an aspect of your consciousness as the physical world. Maybe there's a world where different types of matter are constantly flying around, manifesting and then disappearing. Maybe there are worlds that allow one to perceive different linear possibilities of a thing relative to your spatial position of view, like kaleidoscopic time. Maybe there's a world where life forms start out what we would call fully grown and withered, and end up as a seed. With a different periodic table of elements coupled with a different physics, such a world may not be accessible or perceivable by your physical body at all. What we consider physical linear time could be experienced unimaginably different and rival your wildest of dreams. You are the universe.